We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast on this Friday. I hope everybody had a great week. I hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. I am your host, Stephen Willis, and I am basically here to talk a little bit about today, the way too early draft rankings and exactly what they mean and what exactly it shows, honestly. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get into it too much, though, I want to tell you about the Vault Society. The Vault Society is the big, major push of the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. What is the Vault Society? It's a 5-year commitment of support. Membership starts at $5,000 a year, and there's a benefit on the chart on the site. We're going to tell you about that in just a second. All gifts to Ole Miss between now and June 30th receive triple points. Red points are non-deductible and go towards priority seating. Blue points are 90% tax deductible and go towards parking and non-home ticketed games. That's postseason bowl games, neutral site. Basically, we have one coming up on Labor Day that would fit that criteria. You can check out more about the Vault Society at give2athletics.com. That is give2athletics.com. Also, you can catch the show on Twitter at The Stephen Willis and at The Rebel Walk. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast and the Rebel Walk's Facebook page as well. We're on YouTube at Positively Ole Miss. Hit the bell and subscribe. If you hit the bell, you not only know what we're streaming about, when we're streaming, all that information comes to you directly, and you can determine right there if you want to listen. And we're on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all one word. Now we have a couple of catch-alls at Willis Digital Media on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, same thing. And Willis Digital Media, all one word, on Twitch as well. So you can catch all our videos, not just our Ole Miss ones there. We're on audio podcast land at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and Pandora. We're also on minor podcatchers, but if we name them all, we would be here all day, and this is a relatively short show. So that is the introductory. Thank you very much for watching. Explosive growth. We're nearly halfway to our record on the podcast after 1 week. 1 week. We're almost to our record. So thank you very much for listening. Continue. We're going to keep putting reactions, previews. We're going to do our daily show, the POMcast. We're going to find a way to add different stuff. We have Around the SEC special coming up today at about 3 o'clock, I think, 2 or 3 o'clock. You can watch that. That is me and Corey Burton talking about the NFL draft, the WAC, the FCS. It's really everything but around the SEC, but we kind of touch on a lot of college football. We also get in the weeds a little bit about run scheme, and specifically the duo run scheme that San Francisco made famous doing that. So it's kind of interesting and, getting in the weeds, because Corey's an offensive coordinator in high school, and he wants to get in the weeds. He wants to do that. And we also talked about a new show coming to Positively Ole Miss, or specifically Willis Digital Media, called Coaching Chatter. And that's just two coaches getting in the weeds, talking about football. Sorry about that. So that'd be kind of interesting to see as well. And once we get into coaching change season, which is going to come up in December, January, and February, those guys are really going to earn their stripes. So it's just all talking within the profession. It's coaching information. Also, we have a Discord channel at Positively Ole Miss. We don't have it up right now. But on Wednesdays, we have Discussion Wednesdays. And we hit the Discord channel. We put the comments up there and allow you to participate in the show. That is Discord. It grabs all the comments from YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Periscope/Twitter, and puts them all via a bot in one location to where it all shows up on the screen, and it also shows where you're watching from. So it's pretty cool. So that is the Discord server and what we're doing. Again, watch all that we're doing. We're trying to find an eclectic mix of what's going on. Video 2 of my brain surgery thing is going to show up on Willis Digital Media sometime in the next couple of weeks as well. So thank you very much. Today, I'm going to let you out a little bit early today. Not going to take up too much time, but I want to talk about basically how these way too early draft rankings that everybody has to do is just a complete joke, and it proves a lack of really watching what they're supposed to be experts in, and it shows a deficiency of knowledge and basically just trying to pick guys to fill that role. They, for instance, in the Todd McShay thing, they list 5 quarterbacks and no Matt Corral. And everybody's going to say, hey, that's sour grapes that Matt Corral was not included. And, but when you look at the guys like Sam Howell, Keaton Slovis, Malik Willis, JT Daniels, who was another one, maybe Jalen Daniels at Arizona State. When you look at guys like that, and compare them to Matt Corral, you can see where their deficiency lies with this guy. And one of two things is happening. One, they just did not do the necessary research to do their job. For instance, one of the mock drafts listed the lack of arm strength by Matt Corral as one of his weaknesses, and when he's always been a strong arm quarterback. Sorry about that. And whenever you're dealing with that, it just shows lack of research, lack of understanding. Maybe you heard something from somebody else, but it doesn't really come together like you want it to. It's an open hole to where people can automatically just shut down your argument immediately. And that's something that these writers, they want to be known as an expert, but they don't have time to research everybody, okay? It's like a national writer talking about teams. It's just guessing. It's a 30,000 feet view of what's going on. And basically what people have told them right before they wrote the column about the team. And that's all good except when you're this wrong. It just shows that you are this wrong. I mean, Todd McShay and I think Alex Scarborough completely ruined their credibility on this pick because Matt Corral is sitting at second or third in last year's QBR, and that's with 2 disaster games. Games that if they go away and he cleans those up this year, this could be a Zach Wilson type rise. And that brings me to my other thing. These way too early guys could be positioning him to be the below radar guy to rise up, even though he has no business being there in the first place. He has the number, he has the athleticism, he has the tools to do everything. Why are you going to try and sneak him into a draft riser thing? I mean, I don't understand why you put Malik Willis on that list. He just played a 10-game schedule against the bottom of the ACC, and from there the Sun Belt Conference essentially. And they did not even get to play Coastal Carolina. I believe it was Coastal Carolina. It had a decent team. But whenever you take players like that, you put him in massive expectations. But on the flip side, you just ignore what your eyes have seen, picking apart Florida and Alabama and throwing for 400 yards with your players hurt against LSU and everybody that he could play against. He put up huge numbers, even against teams that tried to do the Mike Leach drop 8 team later in the year. So if you can get rid of those 2 disaster games, he has a chance to be number 1 or number 2 off the board as far as quarterbacks go in the first round. He has a chance to be a top 10 pick. Todd Luganbill says basically there are 2 quarterbacks in this class, and that is Spencer Rattler and Matt Corral. After that, there's a huge drop-off, and that's a guy that played the position, knows what he saw, and he's just kind of on it. Now, I get that these lists are just for talking points, so they need to be controversial so you can be talking about them for a week or so, because these guys are essentially either regular college football writers that have no business talking about the draft, or they're draft insiders that have no business talking about college football. It's either one or the other. It's not both. You don't see Mel Kiper Jr. doing like a daily college football column about just random sports things. Everything is gone through the prism of the next step. He's doing his pre-work in college football while the game is going on. So he's going to get sorry about that. He's going to get into the weeds. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the baseball game and continue a little bit about this. So until then, stick around and hotty toddy. All right, welcome back to the POMcast. Sorry about that. I have a little bit of cough and fit. I'm dealing with some allergies, and this week I've been a little bit under the weather, and hopefully that will get better. We are not going to have a POMcast on Monday. We are not going to have one on Monday. I have a medical thing I have to do that morning, so it's going to be hard for me to get back in time to do it. So just understand that. I'm probably going to take the Around the SEC thing that airs today and put that in that 10, 11 o'clock slot. And so you'll have something to watch as well. But I wanted to talk about, the Matt Corral thing. And you just can't take these rankings for any means of credibility or anything where they're prognosticating the future. They're trying to play Nostradamus. Don't watch these things and let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't bring soap opera or hypotheticals into your existence. Don't generate an emotional response over what could happen. There's always something. there's a possibility and probability. Matt Corral could get hurt this season. There's a possibility of that. It's probably not probable. And even if something happened, you don't know what would be the reaction after the fact. I mean, is John Rice going to go back to quarterback? Is going to be Luke Altmaier? Is it going to be Kincaid Dent? It's all hypotheticals. Do not get upset about hypotheticals. Do not get in those weeds, because you will drive yourself crazy. And in this anxious world of covering football, you've seen the media over the last 4 years. Sports media is no different than political media. Don't fall for it. Don't be in a position to where you put yourself in that position, because subscribers, if it's a subscription service, they need fear, they need anxiousness, they need anxiety to keep you subscribing. So if there's not a problem, they will find a way to make a problem so you can be anxious and fearful of what's coming down the road. Don't fall for the trap of being anxious. Don't fall for the trap of fear. Don't go into hypotheticals. Don't play the rumor game. It's going to be a situation when you're dealing with recruiting service, in order for you to be fearful and unhappy, they're going to name a player that Ole Miss has no chance at. So you can be upset about missing about that guy in the future. That's the whole part of recruiting. It's about anxiousness and anxiety and wanting to follow the soap opera. It's just like watching wrestling. It's about importing drama into your life, whether or not it doesn't need it. Or it does need it. Who knows? But be careful with these way too early rankings, because at the end of the day, they just don't matter. They don't know what they're talking about, period. They can't see the future. If they could see the future, they'd be making a lot more money than they are now. They wouldn't have a job at the moment. It'd be like Biff Tannen in Back to the Future too. I mean, just don't fall for it. Be smart on that. Trust your eyes. Don't just give away credibility. Make people earn it. That's all. That's all I'm saying there. Before I get out of here today, I do want to say this is the schedule. And like I said, no show Monday. I have a medical thing I have to deal with Monday morning. No show Monday. Be back Tuesday to talk all about the baseball series and what's going on. And let's see, Around the SEC is going to release this afternoon, and we're going to release it also at 10, 11 o'clock on Monday. And the part normally associated with the POMcast. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm extremely humbled. I mean, just truly thank you. You're doing a fantastic job. And until next week, hotty toddy.